Hello masses! Today we're going to talk about some of the problems that have been coming up at the Olympics and also have a bit of a rant. So let's get started! I want to talk today about this controversy that's been going on about the badminton teams that were playing to lose. And a lot of people are saying, well, what's the problem? They were playing really easy and soft because they want to conserve their energy for later games. And to be honest with you, that's not a good enough excuse. These people have had to beat team after team after team in order to get to the Olympics. It's not an event where you can just rock up to the tournament and say, hey, I'd like to join in. You have to actually be qualified. You have to go through a load of other seeding contests in order to get to the point where you can go to the Olympics. So by playing to lose, they have effectively said, well, we're not going to play to the best of our ability because all of the people that we've had to beat to get here, they don't matter. All of their efforts to try and get to the Olympics where they'd have played to the best of their ability, that doesn't count for anything because we beat them and now we're going to mess about and do what we want. They haven't earned that right. There's no earning of that right to mess about and say to the people that they were competing against for 4 years to get to the rankings that all of their efforts are for nothing, just so that they can go and mess about and try and cheat their way to getting an easier draw so that they can get through to the finals. That's just not acceptable. That's cheating. I don't care about their excuse that, oh, we were taking it easy because we want to conserve our energy. You don't take it easy at the Olympics. That's the pinnacle event. You go in, you give it your all, and if you're good enough, you get through. And if you're not, you go home. And if you're not, then at least the people who you beat to get to that point say, well, they might not have won, but to get to that point, they had to go through us. You're destroying everything that they've done, and you're messing the events up for everyone else. So book your ideas up and play properly, or don't come. And that's really all I've got to say about that, because let's face it, cheaters are not worth our time. But anyway, I want to talk about something else with the Olympics. A lot of people are saying that the beach volleyball isn't a proper sport. I don't know, I think it is a sport. It's got a competitive element, it requires people to actually get out there and do some exercise, and you get to win or lose depending on some rules. That's, to me, a sport. But I have to agree, if the beach volleyball is in the Olympics, then why not some other silly games that people enjoy? When football's in the Olympics, and lots of people play that for recreation. Tennis is in the Olympics, isn't it? Well, badminton is. I think we've already said enough about that. So, what else could we have? Well, I was thinking, what about darts? But not just pub darts, where you get a bit of a drink and then you throw darts at the board. Proper Olympic-style darts, where you get a really, really enormous dart, and you have to throw it into a giant board. And then, when I was saying this to people, they said, well, isn't that just the javelin? Only instead of throwing the javelin and getting it to hit onto the ground, you're trying to hit onto a wall. Oh, yeah, it is actually. So, I'm now a fan of the javelin. I used to do javelin at school, which is really, really bad when I think about it. Because I've never been the greatest at seeing things and aiming. When I was learning to drive, I managed to knock over several bins that I thought were in the road and things like that. And I've been knocked down by traffic twice because I didn't see it. Well, I wasn't in the car at the time, I was actually walking, but that's beside the point. But looking back now, I think, who in their right mind would give someone with those kind of characteristics a spear and let me throw it when other people are around? I mean, sure, in a controlled environment where I'm in the middle of a field and there's nothing else around, yeah, sure, have a go. That's fine. But when there's 50 other children around me and they're letting me throw a spear, no, that's just not a good idea at all. Anyway, that's all I really want to talk about today. I'm going off now because I'm doing this Camp NaNoWriMo thing. These days, instead of just being in November, NaNoWriMo has 3 events. June and August, they're the Camp NaNoWriMo ones. Same with NaNoWriMo, you try to write 50 words in a month, and then there's a big one in November. I'm trying to do all 3 this year to see whether I can actually finish a book of a decent size that might actually be worth printing by going through and starting the book in June, continuing it in August, and finishing off in November, and we'll see how it goes. But I've got to go and do that now because it takes time. I can't just stay in bed and let it write itself. It'd be great if it could, but it can't. There's probably a story in that. In fact, there is a story in that. I wrote a short story about it called The Raconteur, and I should probably finish that at some point. But anyway, that's all I've got time for because I'm ranting now. So, I've been Kirk-Robinson, you've been watching a video. If you liked it, remember to click the like button, subscribe so that you get future videos, and share this with your friends so they can be entertained too. And until next time, I'll see you Monday.